Hello, hello. Welcome to the Bunday and Radish Retro Podcast. I'm Sweet Radish, or James, and with me I've got John Bundog. How are you, John? Are you still annoyed with me?
Why would I be annoyed, James?
Possibly because I left YouTube and deleted all my content, including our previous podcasts, and I'm back now.
I don't mind if you decide to leave YouTube. It's not a job. It doesn't pay the bills. It's your life. I understand that. But when you delete this gorgeous, handsome visage from the internet, you deprive the people of me. That is a heinous crime.
That's true.
Unforgivable.
Am I forgiven now, John?
As long as you promise never to do it again.
I will keep anything that I do with you, John, on the internet forever, for all time. I'll even send you backups.
Fine. You are forgiven. Welcome to the show, everyone.
So we're back. We're back for our, and we're going back to the original format, which is where we play old games and talk about them, basically. So in our one today, we've got Clocktower from the Super Nintendo, which only came out in Japan. But before we get into that, I think we're going to talk about the games we've been playing, because this is a bit of a catch up for you and me, I suppose.
Yeah, because it's even though we are in some WhatsApp groups together, this is the first time that we've talked just to each other like this since the last episode we recorded. So, which in a way, it doesn't feel like it's actually been that long, but it's probably been a while.
At least 8 months.
It doesn't feel like it. I mean, which is a good thing, just like you should so naturally get back into the groove of it.
Let's hope so, John. So, we have both been part of the RPG challenge. Some have been more successful than others, I will say, but I know you're doing really well. But I know you're part of the 52 game challenge, so you must have played a hell of a lot of games in the last few months.
Yeah, so I'm currently sitting at 36 games completed for the year as of recording. So,
just a few.
Yeah, I mean, and I am now on RPG number 12 of the year.
So finishing ahead of schedule.
Hopefully so. I mean, I left maybe the longest one of my selection to last, potentially. We'll see, because I have currently... Well, so I'm playing Lost Odyssey for the 360, which is still a console exclusive. It has 4 discs, because the 360... didn't use Blu-ray technology, so you still had I believe it's still DVDs, so it didn't fit on one. And I am 22 hours into the game, and I'm still on disc 2. So yeah, that I feel like might take a little bit of time. So I've still got 2 bumps, but so in theory it's doable. It's just getting on with it, I guess. It's with some of the other RPGs I played, it was quite easy to be able to save no matter where you were, or if I was emulating, I could just play a bit, save and come back later. With this, it is traditional save points, so I have to sit down and know that I have a chunk of time, because there are stretches of this game where you could be just it'll be difficult to say go back to a save point, because you'll just be constantly running to random encounters, and it's just you want to press on. So it's more difficult just to say in the evening, sit down and think, okay, do I want to play this game for, minimum an hour, probably longer, when it's it's difficult. So it's finding the time to play this one is harder than some of the other ones I've done. So yeah,
it's a big game. I played it when it came out. I still have it, but I never finished it. I think I got to disc 3.
Okay, yep.
And I obviously lost my way there. Apologies, I've got a noisy dog. I'm dog sitting my parents' very old Springer Spaniel, and he's I think he's got dementia. He's got doggy dementia, bless him.
Aww.
So he's a bit crazy. Yeah, but yeah, you might hear him, and he might, I don't know, howl occasionally. But yeah, it is what it is.
I mean, I've got my black lab in the back somewhere, so she might just randomly appear at some point, and then if she does come along, I'll drag her into my lap and show her on camera. So
we've seen her a few times, haven't we, in the past?
yeah, she's been a regular guest on the channel.
She is. She's a regular. She has a regular cameo on there.
Yep.
Yeah. So Lost Odyssey. Yeah, I think that's probably quite a good game to finish on because it is such a long one.
Yes.
Quite. It's by the guy who did Final Fantasy, or yeah, am I right?
Yeah. So this was like when I say like the original Final Fantasy team, I'm guessing it's the whole team, but like has quite a lot of people who helped shape the series as it went along, and there are some people who call this the unofficial Final Fantasy 13.
Okay.
So because whereas playing this now, I can see why they say that, especially as my second RPG of the year was Final Fantasy 12, and I have played 13 several years ago. So playing this game now, for me, this actually feels like what. Okay, bear with me, because so Final Fantasy 11 was a MMO, and it was PS2/PC. 12 was PS2, then recently got re-released. 13 was PS3 360 era. Bearing in mind that, this to me feels like what Final Fantasy 11 would have been if we were in that generation when it came out. Because it feels like an evolution of 10.
Okay.
Because for those who don't know, like I said, 11 was an MMO, so it's not like traditional random encounters. And 12 is not random encounters either. That is all the enemies are on the field, and you don't pick attacks. Your characters pretty much just go and do like it's a macro system, if people know what that means, where it's like you pick the commands and your characters will automatically go and do things based on the rules that you've set up.
So more like World of Warcraft, is it? Kind of style.
Kind of like that. So I mean, I've never played World of Warcraft, from what I understand. Whereas I think you might pick stuff, but like, for example, you can say if your health goes below a certain percentage, then you'll automatically heal, or if you have poison, you'll automatically do a cure or whatever, So whereas because Lost Odyssey is random battles, but also has for those who don't know who play Final Fantasy X, you could see the order that attacks will go, you and the enemies. You have that as well in Lost Odyssey. It's not as well implemented though, because with 10, you saw the attack line while you were doing your attack. So if you were going to do something that could actually push an enemy back in the order, you actually could see that. You see none of that when you're picking your attacks in Lost Odyssey. So you just see, once you've picked everything at the bottom, and then you see what the order would be. So you can't do that kind of strategy, unless if I'm just missing an option or something. I haven't seen that yet. I just see once I've picked the final move, the last character of the pie's move, then I see, oh, that's the order. It's like, oh, well, if I knew it would be like that, I would have done this differently. But you don't. So that's why I feel like it is an evolution of 10, because of some of those kind of like touches. I mean, I don't want to spend the whole show talking about Lost Odyssey, because I'll do a separate video about that when I complete the game. But that's why to me it does feel like the unofficial 11, because it is still carrying on in that kind of style compared to what 11 was. So, and 12. So, but yeah. Would you like to talk game now, and then you can go back to me after if you like?
Yeah, I'll say what I'm playing right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing quite a lot, but I am playing Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Ooh, a popular one.
Yeah, I saw my PS4 a few years ago, mainly because it sounded awful. It sounded like a jet engine. So I thought, I was considering a PS5, John, but do you know what? I'm just not interested. It's just too pricey. Mm-hmm. There are some games I want in it, but nothing I'm like, I'm not that fussed. I've got other things I want to play anyway. Sure. Found a PS4 Pro, so it's the the one with the kind of 4K HDR stuff on it.
Okay.
Found it for a really good deal. 2 controllers, like new, boxed, everything. I think it was like 120 quid, and it came with Red Dead Redemption 2, which is I love the first one.
Okay,
I smashed that on the old Xbox 360. Loved it. So I bought that, and I got Yakuza Like a Dragon, and wow.
Mm-hmm.
Not only is it batshit crazy, it is awesome. It's a turn-based RPG.
One of the 12.
Based in in I suppose you could modern day Japan. Eventually, it does go through a few sort of different decades, but it's turn-based, but it makes it super fun. It's you could be fighting some of the sort of on-screen enemies would be like street bums. And you'd be fighting in the a region where there's loads of homeless people, and they're all the bums. And one of your party members is basically a bum, and he's awesome. One of his moves is to drink a bottle of what I assume is whiskey, get his lighter, and basically set the person on fire, which is great.
Would it not be sake? Well, I suppose the Japanese also make whiskey as well, but I think maybe wouldn't it be sake?
I think it's whatever he can find because he is a bum. So it's amazing. It's a lot of humor, which I read people thought was childish. I was like, no, it's not. It's funny. It's great. Enjoying that. I'm should finish it by the end of the year, and I should have that RPG 4 done. But another big game I'm playing. I wanted to play it for a long time. I've owned it before, and I've rebought it because it is like a $5. And it's Hideo Kojima's Death Stranding.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
The walking simulator, as people call it. It's a lot more than that. It's I don't know. It is you are carrying shit from one place to the other. I won't lie. But the stuff in between, the atmosphere, what they call the BTs, which are like the bad sort of dudes. They're like invisible and they attack you, and it's in terms of, as we're doing a Halloween, I've had my, I've had my jumps with it. I've, been pretty tense through it, but it's great. I love it. I'm pretty much, again, hoping to finish that in the next sort of 4 weeks. But it is, if you ever get the chance to play it, John, whether it be PC or whatever, because it's out, I think they've re-released it on lots of stuff. It's so good. It's the delivering of items is just to try and sort of progress you from one area to the other, to meet different people, to and there's stuff happening in between. And the one bit I love, which is I think quite unique, is when you get stuff like maybe a ladder, you can put it up. That could show up in somebody else's world. I haven't got PSN online. I've got nothing, so it still works even if you haven't got it.
Okay, yeah.
And sometimes I go in and you've got 50 likes for your ladder just because it's popped up in other people's world. They've managed, and it is helpful because obviously people further in the game have left bridges over lakes, over rivers or whatever, which are a pain in the ass, especially when you've got like 300 boxes on your back. And I'm there smashing the like button on them as well. And it's a weird kind of multiplayer aspect that I've never seen before because but it's so cool, so good. If you honestly, John, you should play it one day, but I know it's not for everyone because it is slow paced in one sense, but it's more like just a really long kind of very slow journey, and an interesting story as well.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Kojima's work, but I still have on the shelf to be played MGS 4 and then 5. And we've gushed about Snatcher in the past. And I've played Police Noughts, but I think I might replay that again at some point as well. So it's, so I think I would probably eventually get to it, but it would probably not be for a long time. And probably by then the multiplayer or the ladders things may have been gone from the game by that point, so I'll probably do a harder version. But
I don't know. As long as the servers are there, John, I reckon there'll be something there. It's. I thought it wouldn't be. I read about all of this stuff and thought, oh, it may not happen in my world because it's, everyone who's playing it is on the PS5 because there's a director's cut on there. But no, there's absolutely tons of shit everywhere. So they might just leave it there.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, it's Kojima's own company. It's not like it's Sony or anything. So as long as Kojima is willing to keep funding the service to stay up.
And number two's they're making number two, so that'll bump up interest. And he likes to take his time, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's not that as many cutscenes as you'd think either. It's quite low on cutscenes so far for Kojima. He's still got a codec, like Metal Gear Solid, but really interesting story. I'm surprised I would be surprised if one day they might try and make a film out of the world and the setting because it is so unique. It is absolutely insane. But yeah, that's 2 games I'm currently playing. There is more, but I'll let you. What have you got next, John?
So a game that we have talked about before, Silent Hill, the original.
And very, very current at the moment with a remake of 2 coming out as well.
Which wasn't deliberate. So for those who either don't remember or didn't see the last time we talked about it. So I never played the series before until I picked the game up I put it on my PlayStation Classic. I modded it so that, you just stick it in a USB and with any games, play it. So, because I never had a PlayStation growing up and never tried emulating it before, but then it was like, okay, I should probably give this a try. I'm trying to remember what the actual catalyst was. Maybe it was because I was doing Club 52, but also we talked about Resident Evil versus Silent Hill. I was like, okay, because I think you were playing Resident Evil, so it was like a good topic for us to do. I can now play this, let's give it a go. And I absolutely gushed and gushed and gushed about it. Anyone who would listen, everyone went, yes, we already know that, John. We've played it like 2 decades ago. But yeah, but even starting it last year after so many years of having newer generations of consoles and games, even I still think it's a masterclass in of a horror game as someone who's gone back to play it and not a remaster or anything, but just still the PlayStation graphics. That I don't care. I think that is part of its charm. So
yeah.
So why have I gone back to replay it? Shouldn't I move on to 2? Well, yeah, okay. But I got the good ending. I wanted to get the good plus ending. I watched it on YouTube. I watched all the endings, but there was a part of my brain kept niggling, thinking, you really enjoyed it, go back and get the good plus ending. And so I was like, okay, fine. This year I will go back, and that's what I did. I double checked to make sure what I needed to do to get the good plus, and I played it on easy mode so that it, because as I already played it last year and I still remembered a lot of it, how should I phrase this? I wasn't going in looking for a challenge. I wanted to just myself get the cutscene, get the best ending. And maybe in the future I might go and actually play on hard mode or something. I didn't do New Game Plus or anything. I just went and started up a new game and then did it that way. So, and it was like riding a bike in the sense of the controls, just got straight back into it. I remembered where things were, so that first area where you first get into Silent Hill, but then walking down the alleyway. If you play the game, you'll know what I mean by the alleyway, and it still gives you goosebumps of when it changes. And yeah, so if you haven't played Silent Hill, play it. Okay, everyone's probably playing the remake of 2 now, but I think the first game should still be experienced. And if no one's played it but wants to play 2, I still think you should go and play this first. That's my opinion, as someone who has never played 2. So
yeah, if I was you, I don't think you haven't got anything as modern as it were. Neither have I to play the remake, the remaster of 2. I would definitely play the original 2 though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely plan to play the PS2 because I know it did get ported to, I think, PS3 and 360 as a remaster.
Yeah, one of those HD collections, wasn't it?
But I think I heard that because of that, they did things like they removed like the fog, and I'm like, which to me sounds like they're removing a lot of like the atmosphere of the game if you could just see far into the distance. So I'm like, as someone who just said that he didn't mind playing, a PlayStation game with its graphics, I'd rather experience the PS2 version. Oh yeah, okay. Before I actually play it, I'll probably just double check because I know there's also a PC port as well, and maybe there's like a best of both worlds kind of situation. But I want to try and play it in its original kind of state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say get the PS2 version, John, but I've got a feeling it's mega expensive.
And I don't have a PS2 nor a way of playing PS2 games. It'll be emulation.
I thought you had a PS2.
No, I've got PS3. So and it's not backwards compatible. So it would be the PS3, or I've also got a 360. So it'd be one of those collections, or the PSC, or the PC port, or the remake.
Yeah, it's about 70 quid. Yeah. Which feels expensive for a game where they probably had millions of copies of it.
Yeah. But it's like artificial inflation. It's like Streets of Rage 3, on the Mega Drive. It's not a rare game, but it's expensive. It's just it didn't sell as well as say 1 and 2, but it wasn't like a limited run, not the company, limited like release of game. So anyway, yeah. So maybe next year I'll finally move on to 2. But I don't know. It's just something about 1 just sticks with me, and I can't really explain it. And like I just want I'm not saying I'll keep playing it over and over, but there's something about it that just kind of resonates with me, I guess. So, but yeah.
I suppose that's just when a game just resonates with you, isn't it? It just you would almost call it, John, a favorite game.
Yeah, it wouldn't necessarily, because I really struggle with like having top lists. But I don't know if it will be on my top 10. Yes. I mean, maybe I had to reevaluate.
Don't maybe it, John. It's in your top 10. We're going to officially. That's the first game we're going to put in your top 10. Okay, I know you don't want to, but we're gonna. I'm going to do a Bunday top 10.
Okay.
And I've got 1, so I've got to find 9 other games that you love. That'll be part of this podcast going forward to fill in your top 10. Whether you want to or not, we're going to fill in your top 10. Okay.
Top 10 of games that I've played while we've discussed, not like from my past.
Well, if I hear about stuff from the past and I think it's a top 10, it's going in, John. And I by the way, I love lists. I've always loved lists. I love spreadsheets. I love ranking stuff. I'm guessing that's some form of OCD or autism or something, which my wife will tell you I definitely have that, and my parents probably would as well. But yeah, because I mean, love. I'm gonna do John's lists. John's favorite survival horror games. John's favorite platformers. But we'll work on that as we go along.
Okay.
But yeah, good time of year to play it though.
Oh, definitely. Like, I mean, I had kept that one for Halloween. So, which, again, like, because of trying to do Lost Odyssey, Clocktower and stuff, I didn't want to also prolong the game. Like, I went in wanting to, like, play it for, I didn't want to, like, just get over with, but at the same time, I'm thinking, like, I've got other stuff I need to play, but I want to revisit it. So, try to use my time wisely.
So, I'm going to segue in there, Sean. I was going to call you Sean, I think, then.
Call me
Sean Bunday. Sean Bunday in the house. Talking about Halloween games, I've started collecting Castlevania stuff.
Oh, God. Okay.
I don't know why.
That's going to get expensive.
Well, I'm not in the way. I'm buying up the collections, the modern ones. I'm
the re-release collections.
Yeah, I can't. I haven't got the money to buy all the. Even the NES ones are quite pricey, aren't they?
It's because it's got a brand name, if that makes sense. Like, it's Castlevania. Of course, we have to have that in the collection, so the prices go up.
So yeah, I've been playing some of that. I played first one. I'm about halfway through number 1. It's hard as balls. It's really hard, and I'm just started literally this week Super Castlevania 4, which is the one I remember playing as a kid. I never owned it. I think my parents rented it. And when I was a kid, I actually found I preferred Super Ghost and Ghouls at the time.
Okay.
Because I owned that, but I rented Castlevania 4, so I got unfinished business with that. Good looking game though.
Because the only one I've played is the. Actually, no, that's a lie. So the only one I played for like decades. Oh, speak of the devil. Right. Our special guest has arrived.
It'll have to be a podcast tradition for the dog to come along.
So my first experience with Castlevania was the first Game Boy game. If you've ever played that one, Castlevania Adventure.
No.
I didn't really have a great time. The character felt very heavy to control. So, and that was my only experience for a long, long time until I picked up the Anniversary Collection on Steam, and then I played through the first game last year as part of the 52 challenge. And I will be shortly playing the Mega Drive, Bloodline / New Generation, because that's the current set of as of recording. It is the latest Mega Drive challenge. So whether or not I beat it is another matter, but at least I'll be giving it a try. So yeah, but so you've been playing through collecting the Castlevania stuff.
Yeah, I've got the I think it's just the Anniversary they call it, which is like the NES, Super Nintendo stuff, maybe PC Engine. I don't know. There's quite a few games in it.
Yeah, because that and the Mega Drive one's on there as well.
Yeah, and I've got the Advance collection,
I guess,
all the Game Boy Advance ones, and I've pre-ordered the Dominus, which is the DS. But really, what I want is Symphony of the Night.
Why is that not on? Why is that not being released? You get on I think the PlayStation Store, but it's not on PC.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want them to do a Switch version of that so I can have them all on Switch. But I know they released it on one of those. Is it limited run? Did they? Yeah. It's called Requiem. They did it for the PS4, and it's like 150 quid for 2 games. I'm not paying that. I think I might be able to get it on the PlayStation Store though, so maybe it's probably like 8 quid or something. But I want it physical, John. I want it in my bloody Switch collection, and I'm happy then. I just want Symphony of the Night, and I'm done. And that's all I need. Yeah, maybe I understand why
it's not had a proper re-release, considering it must be the most popular game. It's like, what kind are we doing?
I think they're a bit crazy though. They've got so much stuff they could sort of push. Like they are doing a new Metal Gear though, aren't they? A remake of 3 Metal Gear Delta. But I just feel like they should be making Metal Gear Solid 4.
Apparently it's not been officially announced, but it's been heavily suggested that because they have Metal Gear Collection 1 or Metal Gear Solid Collection 1 they did last year, year before.
Yeah, I've got my Switch copy of that. I probably should have bought it I might buy it for the PS4. I do love Metal Gear. It's my top non-Nintendo franchise, that is.
And so one of the people who producers or something have said pretty much well, of course we'll do a collection 2, wink wink, as in but it's getting a PS3 game to work on, because apparently the PS3 isn't great for trying to get it to run on other stuff. You have to kind of emulate the hardware. I believe people might correct me on that, but
I think Metal Gear Solid 4 would be massive on its own anyway. So
yeah, I mean it was a 1 Blu-ray disc though, so
yeah. But I don't think you'd squeeze that on a Switch unless it was a download, which would piss me right off. That would,
or streaming, from the internet.
I reckon Volume 2 would be Peace Walker, and maybe some of the acid games or something like that. They do that just to just to mess with us.
I mean, wouldn't it just be Peace Walker 4, 5, the 2 bits of it, and like those other games as well? Because the first collection had the MSX games. So
yeah, maybe. I hope I hope they do finish the collection, because that again, and then finished Volume 1 has to have a Volume 2.
Exactly. And also stick on that Ghost Babel for the Game Boy Color as well. That was a great game. That was my first Metal Gear game.
You do love the Game Boy, don't you?
Well, it's because it's like part of my childhood. But yeah, I've still got my copy of Ghost Babel. So it's
That's probably worth a penny now, isn't it?
yeah, I mean it's unboxed, but yeah, it was. Yeah, I think.
Did you eat the box?
I didn't keep it. I just it was just cardboard, so I was like,
it's Nintendo cardboard, John. It's worth money.
I know. I like the Mega Drive because they had like hard cases. I kept those. GameCube kept those. It's just like the cardboard, like you get out of the box, then eventually the box just like, well, cardboard.
Starts to just die, doesn't it?
Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, because I need to play 4. I have 4 on the shelf, but yeah. So sorry, we've kind of got off track there because we're talking about Castlevania.
That's what we're here for, to go off on tangents.
Mm-hmm. We'll end up as the TMB podcast. I'm sure that no one's used that name before.
What's the TMB?
Retro Bear.
Yeah.
I've been a guest on it.
I've not been a guest. You have you?
Yeah, I was a guest. Oh, have you not been a guest on that?
No.
Ooh, okay. Sorry, I'm probably thinking of you have been. I know you've done a couple of episodes of a different show, which the name currently escapes me, but it's no longer available.
Yeah, I can't even remember what that's called now. Because he's long gone, isn't he? He's gone to do other stuff now, I think. Horror, I think. But yeah, what else have you been playing, John?
So, a game that potentially no one's heard of, The Sojourn.
No, I've not heard of that. What's that?
So it was because recommended to me. I say recommended. He hasn't actually played it himself, but so
they're getting you to be the guinea pig, and getting you to play it first. That's what they're doing.
Nah, because so there's a friend of mine who's Iranian, and so we actually, funny enough, we met because he wanted to do a translation of Snatcher for the Mega CD. So he posted on Reddit about how to try and do it, and I actually tried to like give him good advice about it. He didn't do it in the end, I think, because of the scope of it. He ended up translating Ninja Gaiden actually into okay, it's the language. It's not called Iranian. It's Fardi, maybe. I can't remember. He has told me a couple of times, but at the moment I can't remember. Anyway, so we were chatting, and pretty much we've been Discord friends ever since, and then also like on Twitter and stuff, and like we're always like chatting all the time. And anyway, so he's talking about other games from Iran and mentioned this. So it's on Steam. I don't know if it's on consoles, but it's a first-person puzzle game. So if you think of Portal, but not Portal. So it's that kind of...
Portal is amazing. 1 and 2, love them.
And this game, like, I'm really enjoying it. So I'm guessing, I need to look up what the word actually means, but to me, I'm guessing sojourn, it must mean like journey or something like that, or adventure. So you are kind of experiencing a story. So you're seeing like previous events that as you go through the game. The puzzles are not in any way, shape, or form tied to the story. You are doing them to complete like the challenge room so that you eventually unlock to be able to then keep going through the game. But as you go to each new area, you like there's this like ball of light that's going with you, and then and it will show like statues of like, and it will be like a scene of that something happened. Like at the very beginning, there's these people and they have a child, and then you see the child grow up and go and get like educated, and now has gone out into the world and like stuff that's going on. but it's graphically, I think it's very beautiful, like the colors and like the world that they've built and things. The thing that I don't know if this kind of describes it very well, but when I looked at it, to me, it's made in the Unreal Engine, and it looks like an Unreal game. That's not to its detriment. I just feel like that if you've played enough Unreal games, you probably recognize the style. So even though like I said, I don't fuck up, even though I think it's very beautiful and gorgeous, you will look at it and think, oh yeah, this is an Unreal Engine game. So that's the only way I can describe it. So I don't know. Maybe not. James would have put in some like footage or something of the game while we've when this goes live.
I will if you want me to, John.
I think you should just see what I'm on about more than anything else. So
I will have a look. That your Iranian friend has made you play tests for him.
he didn't make it, but so to get through the game itself, like there's different game mechanics that you have to implement to get through the different challenges. But there are also they're called merits. You don't have to get the merits to continue through the game; they're optional. But they're like either extra puzzles you can do, or when you've completed the main puzzle that you need to do to actually be able to continue, it will go, okay, do you want to leave this challenge room, or it will present another part. So it takes what the puzzle you've just completed, but then extends it. So then you have to then like to go and get that merit. So it's like, okay, but it's optional. Except for achievements, I don't think it does anything. Like I don't think there's like a hidden ending. I think it's just something you earn, and it doesn't affect anything else of the game except for achievements and bragging rights. But it's but like so some of them are real head scratchers. Like there are some where I've been like sat for like half an hour or longer, like trying to think like, figure it out. And then when you do, it's like, oh, of course, and so it's that kind of game. So potentially, I suppose the question is, do you enjoy puzzle games? Yes, please try it out. If not, then this probably won't convert you. So
I think my brain's just too sort of, it's just sort of melting now. I don't think I'm any good at puzzles. I was much better when I was younger, but I tend to try and stay away from puzzle stuff now because I'm just too thick.
But no, I mean, yeah, but at least look at. I'm not saying you should try the game, but just take a look at the graphics.
I will have a look. Yeah. I'll definitely have a look. I'm interested to see what it looks like now.
Yeah. So but yeah, I'm still playing through it at the moment. I haven't finished it yet. Actually, funny enough, I was playing that right before we started this. So I
disturbed you.
No, I thought I had completed a puzzle, and I realized, shit, no, I unlocked the door to go. I need to go through, but I couldn't actually cross over a bridge. So yeah, anyway, so. Yeah,
don't worry, John. I'm sure you'll conquer the bridge.
Oh no, I will. I'll usually when I come back to it, I end up I've got all the merits I can up to this point, so I do stick with it, until I do figure it out. So, yeah, there's 50 of them in the game, and I'm on 28. So,
okay,
getting there.
That's not bad. You're over halfway through.
Exactly. So, yeah. Anything else you've been playing?
Let's have a think. I think I probably mentioned. No, I might not have actually. I was playing Monster Hunter Stories.
Okay, yeah.
Got quite far through, and my son took a liking to it. If you remember, I don't know. I think I sent you a message, and I called one of my monsters Bunday.
Yeah.
A little like dinosaur thing, like a poisonous dinosaur thing. He doesn't know why Bunday's called Bunday, but yeah. So I've kind of left him to it because I didn't want to progress anymore because he just roams around. He does the turn-based battles for me, so I'm way over leveled because he just keeps fighting the same stuff over. So I've dropped that. I finished Snufkin.
Okay.
Magic something melody. It's basically a Moomins game. I love Moomins. That was good. Like quite a short puzzle-y kind of adventure game. Enjoyed that. Finished Mario Wonder finally. That was enjoyable. Not the best Mario, but it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
And most importantly, John, and I've been trying to avoid talking about them, but I'm going to have to, is shmups.
So anyone who's seen James's content knows that he is really getting into shmups.
I am, and I'm trying to stop myself just playing those. But I've gone quite deep down the rabbit hole already. I've got a backlog of shmups now, a massive backlog. But I've been playing Bluish, which is a free PC shmup.
Yep.
Awesome. It's in the same vein as like the bullet hell kind of Death Smiles, something like that along those lines, but free, which is great. Playing Batsugan, which I've got a video coming out soon on that, which is the Sega Saturn port. But at the moment, this was just kind of like an off chance. I was on the eShop on my Switch, and there's a game called Dan Maku Unlimited, and I looked it up, and yeah, it looks amazing. It had a good feedback. Bought it, and what a game! It's short. It's not a huge amount to it. Have I finished it? No. I've got right to the end. I'm getting there, but it's so good. It is. It's a bullet hell. So it is all these bullets flying at you. But I'm getting better. I'm picking up kind of, sort of, when you start, you think, okay, I'm never going to do this. But it's just learning the patterns and learning where to kind of drift, which side you're going to start off on this section. Where am I going to move to? On this one, you kind of spread attack, but you can basically do a concentrated beam. And I've kind of started to almost autopilot switch between them without even thinking now. And my next thing is an arcade stick, John. I need an arcade stick to be pro.
I was going to say, like, for which console?
Well, it's going to have to be all my physical shmups are now for the Switch, so I need one for the Switch. And I've got a lot of digital ones on PC, but I've ordered one. I found a Hori mini arcade stick. They're normally about 50 quid. I found it for £20 on eBay, John. So I've ordered it. It arrived.
But
looked in the box. Looks perfectly like new, like she said. I know it's a she because I looked at her other items to see. I do that. Check, are they, a genuine seller kind of thing? Lots of really high-end sort of clothes, ladies' clothes and stuff. I thought, yeah, she must look after stuff. Looked in the bag, looked good. Opened the bag, and the most horrific smell I've ever fucking smelled came out of the bag. I call it cat's piss, but it's not really cat's piss, John. It's like, you may not know it so much because I work with my job. I see a lot of old people.
Yeah.
And it's like when they haven't washed for a year smell. It's kind of like its own unique. Yeah. And I've taken it apart and I have rubbed it down with alcohol, with wipes, with all sorts of shit, and I can't get the smell off. And I even took it apart to look for, I thought, fuck, this is going to be bed bugs in it. Luckily, I opened it in work, so I've left it in there, and I'll let work deal with that problem if there's any bed bugs from it. It's that, yeah. I think I'm going to have to kind of maybe just leave it soaking soapy water for a year.
Yeah, I mean, there must be, like, ways of getting that smell removed. Like, I mean,
I fucking hope so.
Google, like how to remove terrible smells.
Pretty much what I've said. Alcohol, like rubbing alcohol, that kind of thing. But I don't know. I might catch leprosy from touching the buttons on this, John. So yeah, no, that if I can get that less smelly, I'm going to start using that. So I'm quite excited, and I can use it for stuff like retro stuff as well. Then, not much of a fighting fan, so won't be using it for that. But with the amount of shmups I've got, it's already a work because that will work on both PC and Switch, so it works on both.
I was about to say, what about Switch? Does it actually
works on both? Yeah, no problem. Just see if I can get my head around it though. I have to go my whole life without using one.
Well, because I'm trying to find a demo to send to you called ZPF, which is a new shmup for the Mega Drive, which has been like in development for like ages and has been had a successful Kickstarter for its physical release. So, which so I don't know why, for some reason, unless if I'm missing it on the Kickstarter page, I thought there'd be like a download link for the demo. There must be, but I'm just not seeing it. But yeah, definitely give this a try. I tried the demo and I think I backed it. You know, like as soon as it got released, it went live. I backed the Kickstarter. So
if it's Mega Drive, you're gonna be there, John.
pretty much, but I think it's definitely getting a Steam release. I don't know if it reached its goal to get a Switch release though. Must be here.
I do like to get them on Steam as well because the performance is normally pretty good on the old PC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's like also got a Steam page now, for example. So I don't know if there's a demo on there. Planned release Q1 2025. So yeah, I'll see if I can find it. I'll see if I can find the demo and send it to you. Like, because I've got the demo downloaded. It's just having it actually on my. If I've still got it on my computer, it's on my flash card. It's just actually getting it moved over back on to send it to you. Might be something here. But yeah, so but because if you remember, I also got you to try a Master System homebrew, which I think you really enjoy, Flight of Pigarus.
Yeah, I did. It was one of my favorite games of the show when the shows that we had before. I was definitely well into that, wasn't I? So yeah, I should have seen the signs there because when I had I still have the GameCube. I've never not had a GameCube since it's come out. But Ikaruga, I loved it. I spent like a year just playing it like every week, and I got really good at it. And I never thought, oh, let's try more of these games. Never once crossed my mind to look for other stuff. But now I am. Now it's like how RPGs are for me, John. I have to collect them all. Got to catch them all.
That's gonna get expensive.
Yeah, I like probably the two most expensive genres, RPGs, and why couldn't I like fucking sports games?
That would be a lot cheaper.
That would be much cheaper.
And I have just sent you the demo, so give that a try.
I will. I'll try it by the next show.
In a Mega Drive emulator, but it's being released on Steam in next year. Well, and also when the game goes out to physically as well. So
okay,
see what you think.
Will do.
Mm-hmm. Report back by next episode.
Anything else you want to?
No, I think we should probably go into our main topic.
Clocktower. No, I'm good. I'm ready to talk about Clocktower for the Super Nintendo that only came out in Japan. And I've actually played one of the other Clocktowers. I think it was on PS2. I say played when I was in university. One of the guys that he was a mega PS2 fan. He used to buy everything as they came out from Game Station back in the day.
Miss Game Station.
You know, he'd go up every Friday and get the new releases. I remember him getting Clocktower wasn't a new release, but I remember him playing through it, and I kind of watched through, and it was I enjoyed watching it. It was good. So I think that's where I got the idea for Clocktower for Halloween. That's where
what made you think to pick it for this?
Must have fired up an old neuron somehow from back in the day and thought Clocktower. But yeah, no, definitely something that I'd wanted to try.
Sure. So for those who don't know, like James said, it's a SNES game that was only ever released in Japan, has been fan translated. It also then was ported to the PS1, only Japan, fan translated. I think it might have been ported to a couple of other places, but it's then now being re-released officially in the West as like Clocktower something or other. Not remastered, that's not the name of it, but it's got Reawakening or something like that. But it is being released on October 29th, because part of me, when we discussed doing Clocktower, I was thinking, there's a remake or remaster coming out. Oh, maybe I'll pick that up and have it the modern version. And it's like October 29th. I'm like, we want this out before Halloween. So back to the SNES it is.
Yeah, I genuinely didn't know they were re-releasing it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's also
until you told me, I had no idea.
Release as well via limited run games, because everything is limited run games these days. So
yeah, I did jump in to see if I could get a copy for. Yeah, no chance. It's all gone, sold out.
Mm-hmm.
Some a part of gaming I'm not enjoying is all these limited run stuff, John, because it's just you just go occasionally go, oh, I wouldn't mind playing that, and then I always like to own physical if I can.
Yeah,
I'm a collector. I like to have the physical game way over a digital, and half the time they're like £100+ then after, because people have just bought them to
scalp
to sell it on.
Yeah,
bastards, utter bastards.
Anyway,
I've gone off. I've derailed us again.
No.
Yes, carry on.
So yeah, the version that we played is not the original that's been translated. It's like a deluxe edition. In other words, so the original game did not support the SNES mouse, so it was D-pad only. Whereas this is a ROM hack, which also includes the English language, but also added in not just SNES mouse supports, but also changed, it said, the chase mechanic. So not having played the original, apparently, the scissor man, he would kind of like randomly appear around the map. Whereas with this, he actually kind of logically goes from like room to room.
This I know you sent me your copy with the mouse, the deluxe edition. I carried on with my normal one, so I had a slightly different experience to you then, John, because I just stuck with it, even though it was an absolute fucking nightmare with that cursor. Oh, did you try it?
No, I was doing it with the mouse, and I was like, even with the mouse, I felt like it was a pain to try and control.
You're just there for just trying to find the right spot and say, "Oh, come on." Yeah, no, it was like I said, it almost added to the kind of atmosphere and tension of it, though. Like trying to fucking go, find it, click that, hit that. No, yeah, but
we should probably take a step back and say, okay, so what is Clocktower? So the game is you play as Jessica, was it?
Was it Jennifer?
Oh, Jennifer, yes, thank you. So you pretty much are, so you're an orphan, but you've been adopted along with 3 of your friends from the orphanage. This woman takes you back to her house, leaves you in like the foyer, and is like, I'll be back at the moment. And then she doesn't come back. So then you go to investigate, and then next thing you know, this like deformed like child, or at least some of the stature of a child, then with a huge pair of scissors starts first of all kill someone and then tries to kill you.
Yep.
And then it's a game of cat and mouse going around this mansion, trying to avoid him, but also trying to escape. The plot of the game is you are trying to escape. That's it. That's the end game. Yeah. And so there are 9 different endings, or was it 11? I'm trying to remember. But there's a lot of different endings depending on what you do. So, and the way the game works is like a point-and-click adventure game in a way. So, hence adding mouse support. So you have to interact with the environment or move Jennifer around. This, pretty much it's more left to right. There are things that could be in like the background, but you don't actually move Jennifer forward and backwards in that sense. It's just left and right. Unless if you interact, then she may go into the background to do something. So you have to outwit the scissor man, because you can like knock him over. There's an action button to try and like if you don't do it, he will kill you as soon as he catches up to you, or you can push him over. But you need to get away from him to be able to then actually, because if you go into a room and it's meant to be things you interact with for plot progression, at least in my experience, I cannot do them. You can interact with things to then try and hide from him, but otherwise other stuff to me I couldn't do. I don't know if that was the same for your experience or not, but it's so you have, in other words, you can't just constantly have him chasing you and you just get through the game. You have to get away from him and he stops chasing you, or knows where you are even, to then be able to get the game to move forward.
Yeah, I think even I'll explain the ending, the first ending I had, but
spoiler that.
But yeah, basically at that point, he chased me to the end, as it were, or to the part where I'd end it. But I had to kind of knock him on his weird ass, and kind of go back through, and then lose him again, and then come back to that section. So I generally just, what I did if he turned up was crap my pants and just try and knock him over and sort of hide and come back to whatever I was doing. So I don't even know if I was focusing, John. I just ran like the wind, or however she runs, because she runs a bit weird.
Yes. So there's also like a stamina gauge as well, so that because the more it goes down, the more likely she is to like trip over. I had to look it up because there's a button you can press that where she will kind of like kneel down on the ground and then will recover her stamina.
She has a bit of a rest.
Yes, exactly.
Bit of a chill out.
So, yeah, I mean, actually, when you started the game, so I said you arrive with 3 other women and one of them will die for the action to start. There are 3 different ways for that to happen. In other words, depending on where you go to first meet the Scissor Man will decide which of the girls dies. So did you see all 3, or did you see like one?
I think 1 or 2 maybe, because I went through twice.
Yep.
So I don't even know if it was the same one. I've got a feeling, John, it's the same one because I went the same direction initially. Same sort of route initially at the start. But yeah, I can't remember I can't remember the names apart from it's Jennifer.
So Laura, Anna,
Lottie?
and Lottie. Yep. So okay, so it's worth seeing, like, because they do some cool cutscenes for it. So there are 3 you can do. The first is either you just keep going left, and then suddenly if you're looking up at like this stained glass ceiling, and he comes through, the Scissor Man smashes through the ceiling, comes down and impales one of them that's right below him, and then starts going for you. The second is that before you go to that room, you can go into a bathroom, and if you open up the shower curtain, you can see Laura like hung there like in the bathtub, already dead, and next thing you know, out of the water he will jump out at you with scissors. Now the third one is where did you see like an outside area with like lots of bricks blocking it?
Yeah, you can get a stone from there, can't you?
You get a stone from there, and then you can like break open a hole that gets you through to where there's like a swimming pool, I think it is, or a lake. I think swimming pool. And then, but one of your friends is drowning, and it turns out that the Scissor Man is actually like pulling her down to kill her. When that one was going on, the only I could think is, Jennifer, you stupid bint, why are you trying to help pull her out of the swimming pool? You're just standing there doing fuck all. So, yeah. But, because the problem I had was that when I did the first 2, I said, I cannot figure out how to try and get away from him. Like, he would just keep following me, and I was starting to get really frustrated with the game. When I did that third one, immediately after the girl drowns and you like regain control, there's a shed that you can go into, and I went into it thinking, oh god, I've just trapped myself. But no, there's this like basket that you can get into, and then suddenly he leaves you alone because he doesn't know where you've gone. So to me, it's like, oh great, I now know how to move along. And it was just like a game of like having to kind of prepare yourself for the next time he attacks, like setting up rooms so that you know you can go back to. Because also something I read, there are randomized rooms in this. Not as in like they change every like literally as you stop how and go in. Like every playthrough, it will randomize some of the rooms. So you can't just have a set route that you always do, because some will be like some of the rooms are linked. In other words, say 2 locations might be flipped. It won't be just like every single one is changed. There is a certain ones that will be the same apparently. So, because at one point I had to look at a map to figure out where the fuck where this room was I was trying to get to. So, yeah, it's so when I was partway through the game, it just became, for me, it's no longer scary seeing him. It's just like, ugh, you again. All right, fine, follow me. Let's go back to this room so I can lose track of you, then carry on the game. So, like, any sort of like, there was no fear. Any kind of tension was just because of, oh, you're interrupting me trying to beat this game. In a way, to me, I would not be surprised if this actually was the inspiration for Nemesis for Resident Evil 3.
Could be. Yeah.
This is a SNES game, and that was a PlayStation game, but yeah, an enemy who just keeps following you. I suppose maybe Mr. X from Resident Evil 2 potentially as well, but the B campaign of Resident Evil 2 potentially that as well. But yeah, like I don't know if there's any games that have done it first, but where the game is this one enemy is always following you, trying to get you. Not aware of another one. So, but actually, because I said your WhatsApp, oh, we should probably mention this in the episode, because when I said in the Club 52 that I played this game, somebody said, oh yeah, this is pretty much the game unofficial game adaptation of a film. And maybe I said, oh, maybe that's why I never got a Western release, because they were worried about getting sued. Okay, here we go. Okay, and this was from Eddie Rollercore. It's pretty much a one-to-one of the film Phenomena. Phenomena. Well, maybe, yeah. It might as well be a movie license. And apparently, like the soundtrack and like Jennifer, like apparently are very similar. So I think they probably did take that film, like back in like the era of the SNES, like the idea of something that you get from another country and using it to make your own property. People weren't really thinking about like international licensing or anything like that. Like unlike now, where everyone knows everything happening in every country, that media that's released. So, but that was interesting. That was not one I'd never heard that film before. So that was a interesting, like, fun fact to learn. So, but okay. So to get back on track, I said about how for me it became frustrating to encounter the Scissor Man. Was that what you felt seeing him? Were you actually like scared of him?
I think it's the music that comes along with him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I won't lie. I think every time he popped up, I was getting that tension. I think the game had good atmosphere, especially for a Super Nintendo game. It was
has some great pixel art graphics, I think, as well.
Yeah, it's awesome, and I think I still had, maybe not by the end of my second playthrough, as it were. I think I'd maybe lost the kind of tension and the sort of fear of him. But I think when you realise you can sort of reliably sort of push him over and get a bit of a head start on him, I think once I'd mastered that, I think that was it. Then I could run amok in the mansion or the house, whatever the hell it is. And yeah, but the first time, that first time, it was well done.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose there's only so many times they can scare you with a little man with. It's like he's got scissors, like when they open a new store.
Yes, like
huge scissors,
like to cut the ribbon. Yeah.
He's got a pair of those. I don't know where he's got them from.
Yeah, because
he just looks like a little sort of dwarf, doesn't he? Or it's just his posture. I don't think he's short, is he? He's just sort of kind of crouched.
I think we should probably discuss like the endings we encountered. So if you want to not be spoiled, this is definitely where you should cut off for the endings. But because you had the end, because as I said, each one is apparently lettered if you look online. So you had one of the ones where you actually escape in a car.
Well, you say escape, John. You do escape. You've not had this one yet, then?
No, I've finished it once. I looked at the others on the internet, but
yeah, basically you can, and after reading up on it afterwards, there's a chance you can't get the car key. There's a car key essentially in the garage, and it was there.
Yeah.
So I thought there's a car. So I jump. Actually, when I was about to jump into the car, Mr. Scissor Twat came along, and that's when I luckily managed to push him over. I ran through the mansion, came back on myself eventually, and I thought, there's no way I can use this car key in this car and escape. And it fucking did. You just drive through the garage door, and then it's got a little animation of her in the sort of wing mirror, and then Mr. Scissor Twat is in the back seat though.
Yes.
So although it's an ending, I would assume the bad ending, or one of.
There are a lot of bad endings because what's the other ending you got?
Mine was, is it Mary? Is that her
Yes,
name?
the mother.
Yeah, where she comes along, and I think she pushes one of your mates down the hole, and then is it the crows come along and sort of scrape at her ugly face? She falls down by the ladder, and then Jennifer's all sad.
Okay, so it sounds like you got one of the. That sounds like either the best or better. So I think you can save one of them. So if she died, then I'm guessing that was maybe the B ending, potentially.
Could be. Yeah, I didn't check on that one, but I definitely had H, I think it was, on the car one. I thought I was a genius. I thought I'd, sped run the game. I thought, yeah, I've done this in like half an hour or something, 20 minutes. But no, it's just the bad ending.
Because the ending I got is where she is in the lift to go up to the clock tower, and the guy comes out of the ceiling, which happens on your ending, but then he kills her in the lift. And I took a look to see, what the hell, and it turns out it's because I think that I hadn't talked to, I think, like a prisoner or something, or given him some meat or something like that.
Oh, the cannibal dude.
Yeah, I saw the guy that was in the cage when I was hiding in the shed, but didn't do anything with him after that. And then to be honest, that kind of pissed me off. Like, why the hell would that make a difference to whether or not I get killed in the lift or not? Because he doesn't come along and stop the guy from coming out of the roof before you can escape. So why would that, storyline wise, why would that affect it? And that did kind of piss me off. If there was a logical thing of he caused X to happen, fair enough, I have no issue with that. But when it's just because you did not do this random thing over here, like the crows makes logical sense. You free the crows so that they can help you at that end.
Yeah,
I did that. I released them. But so that makes perfect sense. But with that guy, why does that affect the ending I got? That's what I don't understand. That's what I didn't feel inclined to try and go and get a better ending. So I'm like, well, fuck you, game. Give me a story reason for this happening. So because I said earlier on that I want to get the good plus ending for Silent Hill. I want to go back and experience that. With this, I do not feel that for Clocktower, because I'm like, well, I've experienced what the game's got to offer, and I can see for the pinnacle of its time, why it would be so well regarded. But I don't feel the urge to replay it. I'm happy the time I've had with it, and I don't feel the need to go back to it. But I'm probably jumping ahead to our final thoughts. But yeah. So I do. But I do like the kind of what the game was offering up in the sense of, to get to the endings we've just discussed. You see some cult kind of supernatural stuff, and you meet, I think, Mary's other son, which is this grotesque kind of bulbous mass that starts like a big worm or something that starts crawling towards you, and
she needs a test, doesn't she, before she has any more kids? She really needs to sort out what's going on with their children.
Yeah, exactly. What the hell? And so so I do like the kind of how they were explaining for what was going on. So I thought that was a cool touch. But yeah, I mean, is there anything else kind of topics you want to discuss before we kind of go into that final thoughts kind of stuff, or?
I think at one point, funny enough, I messaged you, I think, or something, and you said, "Oh, now I've been killed by the bloody parrot."
Yes, at the beginning.
And I thought, what the fuck is he on about? And yeah, not long after, I think the next night or something, because you basically let it go from its cage, don't you? And yeah, I got killed by the fucking parrot as well. Couldn't believe it.
Yep, because it turns out you can actually, once you let it out, you have to grab the bed sheet and put it over it, and that will stop it. Because apparently that was also a way of hiding from the Scissor Man. It could be used for that.
Okay.
Like, I didn't do it. I also don't know how I would do it, but like, because for me, the main way of getting away from the Scissor Man is there's a room that you go into where you get the pesticide.
Yeah, for the fridge.
Yeah, and you can push a box close to like some cabinets, and you can go over and behind it.
Yeah.
I would just always go back to that room, hide, and then carry on with the game. That was my technique of avoiding him. So,
yeah, I think my main thing with the game is the controls are just a bit.
that's why I think if you feel like you want to play it again, definitely use the mouse version. It's far better.
Yeah,
I mean, based on what it sounds like, what you said,
Yeah, point and click games. I've loved stuff like Grim Fandango, Monkey Island over the years. This is just you kind of, like I said, you played a slightly different version with mouse controls, but I can imagine it was still really kind of difficult to click on stuff. But it was so hard to click on stuff sometimes, especially when you're maybe trying to do stuff quickly.
Yeah, because you've got the guy chasing you.
Yeah, and I found just a running and stuff. It was you press shoulder pads when I set up on my controller, so you kind of left controller for left, right for right, and yeah, I found the controls the biggest hindrance. I'm used to shit controls with like Resident Evil, the original tank controls. Don't mind it, but this I found maybe just a bit too slow for me.
Yeah, I think if the Scissor Man was not so quick, it might be more forgiving. But because of how easy quickly he can get up to you, you haven't got time to try and move a cursor via a D-pad to where you need it to be to like run away.
Yeah.
So, but hey, I mean that's SNES Zero gaming for you.
Yeah, it's I think for me, in terms of graphics and atmosphere and ideas. Yeah, the idea of the game where you can kind of, it's almost like a sort of
choose your own adventure.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to get sort of out of my very small mind. But yeah, I think those are the positives. It's just I think it's let down by it's probably a bit too early, wasn't it? That would have definitely benefited from coming out a bit later on in terms of to make it a complete game. So maybe the remaster will be a better version. They'll have better controls.
Yeah, I mean, I think it also has like, I don't know if the PlayStation port had this or if this is new for this one, but like cutscenes, like new animated cutscenes for it. Like, when I say animated, not like pixel art, like hand drawn art or computer art or whatever, for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, so do you feel inclined to like replay it at all?
No. I think, to be honest, what I'm going to do, I'm going to watch the other endings on YouTube. I think that's enough for me. I've got enough from it.
Yeah.
To sort of get an idea of the game. But yeah, I don't think I'd play it again, to be honest with you. I'd play the rest in the series. I'm interested to, which I think are the ones that I loved, the ones that people are sort of that talk about. So I think I'll try Clocktower 2 at some point, but maybe next Halloween. I don't know, but no, definitely interested in the franchise and the series, but I don't think I'll go back to this one.
It might end up being like Clocktower 2 and Silent Hill 2 next year. Who knows?
I would totally play Silent Hill 2 again, John. It's I think it's the best of the lot, but I get the hype with it. I can completely, but yeah, definitely. I think Silent Hill 2 is it's probably worth £75. Honestly, it's that good. I've always been more Resident Evil personally.
Yeah,
but I think I think objectively, Silent Hill 2 is a scarier game by a mile.
Yeah, I mean,
As this one.
Yeah, they're different genres of horror, if that makes sense. Different sub-genres of horror, because Resident Evil, it's zombie survival, so which is like, okay, an evil virus. I say evil, a virus has like caused the dead to come back, or to be turned into zombies, and like you're also a trained stars member to so you like dispatching these things quite easily in that way makes sense. So you have like the scary things of like jump scares or like being attacked or things like that. So whereas with Silent Hill, it's more supernatural. It's like it's the grotesqueness of it, like of the everyday normal things being twisted into like these dark kind of counterparts. Like the like I said earlier on, like going down that corridor, like alleyway, and it's suddenly changing to like darkness and then blood and like the music. Dear God, the music in that game, like the sound effects, and like that kind of like starts that setting that atmosphere, like really gets you on edge. Whereas with Resident Evil, it's like from the get-go, like, oh, zombies have started attacking you, and zombie dogs and stuff, and you're in a creepy mansion, like there's blood, but you kind of expect it. Whereas you don't with Silent Hill, you don't know what the game is going to throw at you next. So
yeah, it's Silent Hill. I think has got the creepiest atmosphere.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, if you want to have a fun time, you're gonna play Resident Evil. If you want to have like
shit your pants time,
Silent Hill.
Yeah, absolutely. Another game I played last year, John, I don't think I ever mentioned it, that was shit your pants gaming, was Amnesia.
Which one? The first one?
First one. I couldn't get any further. I stopped.
Fair. Yeah, I played it a year or two after it came out, and I got to a point where I can play anymore. Like, I think I may have saved myself into a corner, but also I didn't want to deal with like the unseen horror, or wherever it was. Like, just like, again, that's a game which, from memory, had a great setting, and you're picking up these bits of information. But I got into, was it some sewers or something, and then I just kept dying, and like I
think I got up to the sewers.
Sounds familiar. Maybe that's like the real difficult bit, and I just couldn't make myself keep going.
Yeah, it was just too much for me. Mm-hmm. I won't lie. If lights were on, headphones were off.
Yeah.
No more. This is not enjoyment. I'm gonna end up having to change my pants if I carry on with this. So yeah. That I think that is the most frightening game I've played, but that'll teach me for doing it on my own in the house with the lights off and the headphones on.
Mm-hmm.
Every time a dog would move, I'd be or hearing next door, I'd be no, not for me. I think I'll stick with my Resident Evil for I can cope with that.
Yeah, but they are great games. It's just that they're a different type of horror.
Yeah, for people with balls of steel.
Yeah, cool. I think we've pretty much maybe reached a natural stopping point.
Yeah, I think you've got nothing else to say about Clocktower? I think it's worth a go.
Yeah, I think maybe like once the remaster comes out, like, I mean, if you're on the fence, maybe see what the reviews say, see if there's a demo or something, but because it's such a short game, can they really demo it? Maybe not. So, but yeah, I think if you're interested into the series and you go in knowing what we've said about like expectations, then it's still, you can get enjoyment from it.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm glad that if the remaster is the same experience as what I've just had, in a way, I'm glad I emulated it rather than paying full price for it myself. That pretty much says, oh, it's not worth buying. That's not necessarily true. It's I don't know. Yeah, your mileage may vary, but it's
Yeah.
See what you think, I guess. You might get more out of it, and you may want to go try and achieve all these endings, because no doubt there might be achievements for getting every single one. So
Yeah, it's got a little menu option, isn't it, to show you all the sort of endings that you've completed, as it were. It's got a list, isn't it?
exactly.
So yeah, if you're a completionist, you probably maybe you'd enjoy working out all the sort of intricate sort of parts that trigger each ending. Not for me. Yeah, I think I think that's it, John. I think we'll be back in November, probably hopefully mid-November, like this time, with a new game.
Yes,
Yet to be decided.
Wait to see what we pick.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on, John. And I promise, like I said before, I promise not to ever delete this. This will be
Delete everything else, but leave this.
Yeah, when our civilization crumbles,
this will be the only record they find.
There will be Bunday and Radish still on some server somewhere, still there. So it'll stay forever. Okay, I promise.
We will be immortal.
So yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to put recommendations for games for me and John to play, by all means, pop them in the comments. I'm not saying we'll play them.
Shorter games at the moment.
But yeah, well, I think that's it from me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.
And we're back, baby.
Bye.
Bye.